And then the second of why your body really matters in regards to leadership is our breath. And think about like yesterday, who spent like a few hours working on the computer yesterday? Most of us. Maybe not everyone, which is great. But did you ever think to breathe, or like just think back to yourself and not making yourself wrong, but notice what was happening with your breath? And likely it was pretty shallow and just kind of up here, maybe even just track this morning. And when we're, in that high shallow state, your nervous system thinks you're under threat. And so your voice will, like, even if you're not conscious of it, to a certain degree, your voice will begin to tighten. Your focus narrows. But when you can start to more and more, it's not like every breath has to be so deep, but start to drop your breath. Start to use your breath as an intentional resource. You can slow it down. That will start to send a signal to your body that you're safe, right? That there isn't actually any threat just because this email came through or because you have like 1,000 tasks, right? There's no real threat to us. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And we're going to do, it's a good question, an intentional practice. We have 2 practices we'll do together. So I'm not just bloop, bloop, bloop. And you can have this is all intellectual information around being embodiment. What does it mean? But yeah, meaning dropping your breath, being more in your belly. And it doesn't mean every breath, but having the capacity. That's what I think is key, is sometimes we can just get stuck here. And we're going to start to just feel really, really anxious, really revved up, scattered, lack of focus, distracted. And if we start to bring our breath down, even when it's, okay, maybe you take a sip of water, that's your cue to remind yourself to take a full belly breath. But yeah, I'll talk a little bit more specifics and we'll go through a practice of that. But good question. And then the third around why your body matters in relationship to leadership is embodied awareness is what creates authentic influence. And I think this is like the most important. And the first practice we'll do, we'll play with this. But when you're actually in your body, it does, like, people feel that, right? You're present, you're here. It can start to develop more trust versus if you're so stuck in your head and like out there, people don't really know where you are. They might not know, what it is, but they don't really trust you or they think something's off with you. And again, that embodied awareness, I think, is so important in regards to helping to start to bring a little bit more healing, even if it only be in our little world, right? Of the events you go to, your community, your clients, to have more understanding when we're in opposing viewpoints. Whether it be a team person, right? And there's conflict there and you need to relate to them in a different way. Yeah, so today, again, we're not going to just talk about another mindset hack, but we're going to experience how posture, breath, and embodied awareness can shift your leadership in real time. And so a few reasons that I always like to just name of the why we disconnect. One, we've never been trained how to actually be in our body. For some, this may be something, embodiment, somatic work is something you've been doing. Maybe you are on that path. Maybe it's totally new and it seems like kind of woo-woo or out there or not tangible. But why we disconnect is everyone's had certain different degrees of trauma, capital T and big T. And so for some of us, at some point, it really wasn't safe to be in our body. And that was a really smart survival mechanism that your body did that was needed and necessary. But when you're in your leadership role, showing up in your business, showing up as a professional, it's outdated. It doesn't serve you. And so we need to support your nervous system and how to get out of that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. For a lot of us, if we were big and we were really visible and seen, right, we were told we were too much. We've been conditioned to be small. So we're really rewriting a lot of the ways that we've been taught, whether actually consciously taught or just through our conditioning, why we show up. So we're going to do the first practice. And I don't have time up here. I should have brought my phone up. Okay. But so to go into more what I was talking about, specifically like the embodied awareness. So we're going to play with the practice of being in your inner anchor versus being in your head. And, it's not like we're like always 100% in our head or 100% in our body, but it's having more choice around that. So I'm going to just use myself as an example, and then we will partner and pair off and do this. But if I were just speaking from my head and saying what I do, I might be like, and just as I do this, I just want you to notice, how do you feel in relationship to me? What do you notice? What are you remembering? So I'm just going to speak from my head, and then I'll speak from your inner anchor. So speaking from my head, I'm Emily Wishall, and I help high-achieving women learn how to reconnect with their bodies so that they can feel confident, sensual, and strong. I'm an author of the book Radical Embodiment. So just notice how you feel. Notice how you feel in relationship to me, my words. I'm noticing my own body, like, I stopped breathing. I got really anxious. But then if I can drop down into my body, into my inner anchor, and then I'll speak. So I'm Emily Wishall. I work with high-achieving women who feel disconnected from their body, who don't feel safe in their visibility because of how they feel in their body. And I help and support them get back into feeling confident and strong. So just notice how you felt in that second. What are some things, and you can just call out that felt distinctly different for you?
There was an or a pause the second time.
Are you a Toastmasters?
No.
No?
Hey, I like to play one. But it was relaxed, and it just seemed as if it was natural.
More natural.
It wasn't rehearsed.
Yeah, the other one felt more rehearsed.
Yeah. That was more authentic.
Yeah. More approachable. Yeah.
It slowed down on the second one, and then your tone was lower.
Yeah. So you tend to, and I wasn't thinking ahead of time exactly what I was going to say. Whatever words came off, I could have just told you about my morning so far. We could have done the same practice, but there tends to be, like your tone tends to be a little lower, a little slower. Usually there's a little bit more resonance or like emotional connections, even the words you're saying, or people remember what you're saying more. And so we're going to do, first I'll just kind of bring us all through this, and then we'll partner and pair up and kind of play. But we tend to, especially in regards to when we're in conversations around conflict, when we're sharing about our business, when we're at networking events, when we're at those more higher stakes things, we tend to pop out of ourselves and get into our head. And so it's key to how do we train ourselves that no matter what, I can be here, I can be home. And that's one, when we're here, our nervous system knows we're safe, and it starts to then allow us to relate and respond in a way that's more congruent with how we want to be. So let's just do this practice together, and I'll kind of guide you into being more in that lower half of your body versus just in your head. So sit however is comfortable, but ideally your feet are on the floor. And you can close your eyes, or you can just have like a soft gaze down at your navel. But that, even just a soft gaze, can just kind of support you in just being a little bit more internal. And really just feel your sits bones, the bones under your pelvis, under your butt, on the ground, or on the chair. And start to just invite your attention a little bit more into the lower half of your body. So you could imagine that you have like that center point of your pelvis, so about 3 inches below navel, back and towards spine. In most like ancient healing traditions, this is one of the most important energetic centers, so it's like often referred to as the lower dantian. So we're bringing most of your awareness again below your navel, so back and down, and breathe into this space. Let your heart soften, your sternum, your shoulders relax. And this is the space I call your inner anchor. And so you can kind of come back out and just, if you have any noticings, you can share what you notice. But this is where we're going to speak from. Usually it kind of calms us down, because too, when we're so stuck in the past of like, oh, what I didn't do, or all the things happening getting here to this meeting, right? That robs us out of the present moment. Or if we're so worried in the future of all the things I have to do or how I'm coming across, that also disconnects us from being here. And actually, I think takes way more energy, and we feel way more exhausted. The days that I'm less connected to myself and my body, I end up feeling really, really, really exhausted. Versus maybe the next day I have way more on my plate and I'm holding way more capacity for clients. But when I'm here and I'm not letting others' energy come in as readily, I feel way more clear. I feel way more present, way more centered, because I'm also just with what's in front of me. I'm not getting lost down the line. So we're going to do a really simple practice where you're going to partner up with someone next to you. I think we will have one trio, or I'll partner with somebody because I think we're an odd number. And we'll decide partner A, partner B. We'll do whoever has the longest hair will be partner A. And the first 30 seconds, you're just going to be in your head. And I'll kind of talk us through right before we go. But you're going to just talk about head bubble and just say what you do, who you are, what you do. Then we're going to take a pause and kind of recalibrate. And then partner A, person with longest hair, will go again. And I will have grounded us. We'll come more into your inner anchor, into that lower half of your body. And you're going to share the exact same thing. Share with this person about what you do, who you are. And partner B, the listener, is just going to notice, right? How do you feel in relationship to this person as they're speaking? What do you remember? And then we'll, of course, reverse partners, and then we'll go into a share. That sound okay? So partner up, however, and I'm probably going to have you standing. I'm just grabbing my phone for time. And I'll be someone's partner because we have an odd number.
Partner. Okay. All right. We should partner.
You're my partner, Tracy. Yeah. And stand up if it feels okay for this. We'll come up here if you don't mind. So we're going to stand up if you guys feel okay standing. Yeah, so everyone's decided who's partner A. So right now you're just going to be in your head, right? So think about your to-do list, think about what you have after this, whatever. And then I'm going to start a timer, and you'll share your partner, your name, who you are. And when you hear the timer go off, you can finish your sentence and then pause. Okay? Okay, and go ahead and begin. Speaking from your head. I'm Emily. So I'm an author. I'm a coach. I specifically help women learn to love their body more, really take back their life. And I feel passionate about, if a woman feels insecure, she's feeling tired, she feels kind of stuck, doesn't have like a lot of vigor, helping her get, feeling her stronger. Okay, and then go ahead and stop, take a pause, and everyone just close your eyes and just notice. Speaker, notice how do you feel in your body after that? And then listener, notice how do you feel in relationship to the speaker? So just kind of tracking for yourself as both speaker and listener, what feels present. And then everyone kind of close your eyes to just support yourself and feel both feet on the ground. Think of your inner anchor. So again, it's that center point of your pelvis, your center of gravity. You can imagine a ball of light there. This isn't Boulder. If it were, I said you could imagine a crystal there, but maybe we still have some crystal lovers. But just let yourself breathe into the lower half of your body. And then we'll stay with the same partner. You're going to do the exact same thing where you're going to share with your partner who you are, what you do, staying connected to that lower half of your body. And go ahead and begin when you're ready. I'm Emily Wishall, and my work really evolved from my own journey of hating my body from age 8 and the amount of life force that robbed and stole from me in regards to not really going after what I wanted in my relationships, in my career. And through the years, when I learned different somatic work, fascia work, nervous system, it shifted everything for me and how I felt. And I got so much life force back. I started actually putting myself out there in all areas. And so I know what it's like to be on the other end, and I know what it's like to be after. So that's really why I do the work that I do, and want to support other women of they can love their body no matter how their body looks, shape, anything like that. And go ahead and take a pause. My timer didn't go off for some reason. Sometimes it sounds like that. What's that? Oh yeah, thank you. And go ahead and pause and just notice, speaker, notice how you feel after sharing, being more grounded in your body. And then listener, notice, how did it feel hearing them this time, right? Did you remember maybe more you shared? And then we're just going to reverse roles so that the other person can play. We're going to do the exact same thing, and then we can have more of like a debrief. So whoever was partner B, shorter hair, is now going to speak. So everyone just kind of like get back into your head, think about all the things you have to do today, think about your to-do list, all that stuff. And so then the opposite partner, go ahead and share with the partner who you are, what you do, speaking from your head.
The head. So Mark Lucas. Also mortgage market.
Understanding the pain points
A lot of conversations.
We'll go off this time. It's not going. And that's our time. So take a pause and just notice. Notice whoever was speaking, how did that feel for you now being in the speaker role? And listener, yeah. Just notice how you felt in relationship, maybe what you remember. And we're putting you a little bit extremes, right? We're not always extreme, but it's just to feel contrast is essential, I think, in anything, but especially when we're wanting to make a change or bring more awareness to modes of operating that are often unconscious. It's really helpful to have that contrast to start to see. So now everyone just feel feet on the floor, come more to lower half of your body. Remember that center point of your pelvis. So you're back, you're below your navel, you're back and towards your spine. Let your breath come there. Don't worry about what words you're going to say. Just stay connected to this space. And then you're going to look at your partner and you're going to share who you are, what you do. When you're ready, go ahead. You tell beautiful stories and it's full of honest. I'm a storyteller myself. I've got some beautiful experiences from making myself heard, and I bring that to our clients and really share or lean into their true personalities to make themselves the best they can.
Families.
That's good. I don't know if I saw a difference. I did initially. Okay, and go ahead and pause. I don't know why sometimes take a pause there, and yeah, you can thank your partner. Maybe you can go ahead and between the two of you, if you want to share any reflections for them of their modes or how that felt, go ahead and do that, and then we'll kind of come back together. I know because immediately I leaned in when you were like, I'm a storyteller brand, and the first half of what you said the second time, I was more with you and remembered more versus like the first. I was like, oh, how about me? Oh, these beautiful experiences she's had. I wonder what she's done. Yeah, and I feel the same for you. The second one was your story. And your personal. The experiences you've had when you were 8 years old. Yeah. And how she's made that change. Yeah, which was interesting that's what came to me to share when I was in the room. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Not usually I would share in a 30-second thing, but I just went with, whatever words came up. And so it's, it's a curious thing. Yeah. Thank you, Tracy. Okay, so we're gonna come back.
There's
I look at my face. I don't think so. Exhale. And go ahead. Yeah, everyone, we can come back to our seat.
And that chapter's over.
So how was that? What did you, anything that popped out that you guys want to share? That, yeah.
Breathe into your back, breathe into the lower. Like, how do you focus that breath to part of the back? You're supposed to pull to your lungs, but I was like, get to your back or your heart.
Yeah, well, so that's a little different than this practice, but I can totally speak to that. And where we're going next is on the breath. So your lungs, her question was when you're asked to like speak into your back or breathe into a certain part of your body, not speak, sorry, is how do you get your breath to do that? And so your lungs are actually all the way up here. Your first rib goes up this high. We don't tend to know that. The lung pleura goes up this high. And so ideally, there's, first of all, there's no right way to breathe. There's no right way to breathe. I just want to, like, I always think, what is your intention for why you're wanting to change your breathe? What is the outcome? Is it an activity? Is it a sport? Is it because you're going to focus? The breath then should influence and support that. Now, in my work, a lot of the women I work with have unconsciously, and I'm going to sucked in their stomach for years. I'll go ahead and go to this slide because it's on breath for clarity. And when we do suck in our stomach, that is the one time when I'd be like, that isn't great, is because it shifts our ability to breathe. Meaning, if you all like suck in your stomach right now, try to take a breath. Very, very shallow. Your diaphragm, which is the dome muscle at the bridge of the costal arch of the rib cage, when you inhale, ideally should move down, and that's why our belly expands with the inhale. When we exhale, the diaphragm moves back up. So in relationship to your question, there's a lot of ways, but I always like to think of the rib cage as an accordion when I inhale. So meaning, think of my hands as your ribs. When I inhale, the ribs expand the front, the sides, and the back. They go up and down. And so the back is a challenging place for a lot of people to access their breath. So laying on the ground can help with knees bent. Putting a pillow, usually some sort of external feedback, can be helpful to begin to help map that area if it's been so unconsciously trained. Yeah. Does that kind of answer? Yeah. But any other things people want takeaways from that practice that you noticed in regards to how you felt talking more from being in your head versus below or versus your partner?
More calm.
You felt more calm?
The second time going around.
Yeah.
It didn't feel forced per se.
Didn't feel as forced. Yeah. Did you feel more connected with your partner? Yeah. Yeah.
The first time it's like you're talking surface stuff.
Yeah.
Versus going on the second round, you're talking your true yourself. That makes sense.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And then I noticed I was with Tracy, and when I shared the second time, even though I'm leading this, I wasn't planning what I was going to say. I just say whatever. I'm doing the practice too. And when I dropped into my inner anchor, I shared more of my story, which I never tend to share in a 30-second pitch about my business. Right? It tends to, when we're more in our body, we tend to feel more connected. Not only is it more calm, but we feel more connected with the other person. There's a little more trust. Maybe you remembered more what your partner said in the second mode. Would you say that? Did more of what they say actually lingered with you, and you're like, oh, this is what you're about? Because you can feel them, and you're not just being talked at. Like, I think maybe sometimes at that mode we're in our head, we're just being talked at, and like, oh, you should work with me because I do this amazing thing, or you should refer this person, I do this amazing thing, and it's like, hold the phone. Well, who are you? Where are you in all of this? Yeah. So the second practice, and you had a couple questions already around breath, so that's great, is around using our breath for clarity. And so again, speaking of, when you suck in your stomach, we can't get a full breath, or when we're just kind of in this mode of working on our computers, busy, we tend to just be more up in what's called like accessory breath, just more in our chest. which puts us more in that sympathetic state, that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And so let's just do this simple together. We're only going to take 3 breaths together, but place a hand on your chest and then one on your belly. And inhale slowly through your nose. See if you can let your belly expand first before your chest. And then we're going to exhale. You can do nose or mouth longer than the inhale. I'm going to do through my mouth. Your belly's coming in with your exhale, a little longer than the inhale. Inhale again, let belly expand first. So breathing all the way down into your inner anchor. Exhale, letting it all go. A little bit longer than your inhale. And then one more inhale all the way into your belly. Exhale, letting it all go. So that was just 3 breaths. Maybe that took 45 seconds. But notice if anything shifted for yourself. Do you feel a little bit more space? Do you feel more calm, more clarity? What does anyone notice anything with just that practice? More calm?
Body feel more full because like taking more air.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you're oxygenating your cells more. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so, like, you could, I mean, ideally, so I was taking us more, a little bit more to get into a parasympathetic. And just know sometimes when people are talking about the nervous system, they're like sympathetic nervous system or parasympathetic nervous system. It's not black and white. It's how can these systems work more in relationship and harmony with each other. And we do tend to be more in that sympathetic state at times when it's not serving us, right? Which will put our cortisol levels higher. It'll have us more in that reactive response. So anytime you're wanting to shift out of that and be a little bit more in that embodied aware state, making your exhale longer than the inhale is the simplest place to start if you're feeling really nervous or really anxious. If you are feeling tired and drained and you got to start to work on your computer, you can do exactly what we did, but really inhale with vigor and then exhale. Leave your exhale the same length as the inhale or a touch shorter. Don't lengthen the exhale. But there's so many ways we can use our breath to shift our state and to shift how we feel. And it's free. It takes no time, right? I think we're all busy. What are you doing at the red light? Are you trying to check your phone, or can you just take a few breaths? Can you come into your inner anchor, right? Can you just be present? I feel like our attention is being commoditized, right? Like everyone's paying and buying for our attention, and it's only becoming smarter. AI is awesome. All of our internet, like social media, is awesome. There's so much benefit. But is it using us, or are we using it? Who's consuming who is always what I'm curious. And when it comes to more AI and all of that, no one can be you. And I think what's more important in this world is like we are just ourselves, and being more embodied gives us more choice, gives us more resource. And you can take a breath, and it takes no time. Yeah. So when to do these practices, great times would be before a pitch, if you're going to be going in and giving a talk, or giving a pitch, for your services to someone. It's a great time to just breathe into your anchor, right? Practice the pitch speaking from there. And as much as possible, when you're giving the pitch, can you come back home? Can you come back to yourself? And before networking, right, play with that breath. I love that you felt more full, you felt more space, right? Really fill your entire thoracic vessel with your breath. Notice how that shifts your posture, not from this like efforted, I gotta be like on and like projecting everyone that I'm like confident and awesome, right? Which doesn't feel great. Also not shrinking, but you're just there. You are who you are in your openness. And before a tough conversation, right? If you're having a tough conversation with a loved one, with a team member, a client, doing that breath that we just did is huge, right? Just even simply actually letting your belly move with your breath is something that a lot of us are unconsciously not doing. So again, when I said earlier, like there's not a right way to breathe, that would be the biggest part. It is just making sure we're not sucking in our stomach all the time, because that does put us more in that sympathetic state, that fight, flight, freeze, because our diaphragm can't move. And so we're more in that kind of accessory breath. When else might be a good opportunity to use these practices that comes to mind? Was that 5? Well, you say, Anthony, when else may you use these practices in your life?
Constantly making expensive mistakes and having regret.
Yeah.
And that regret would move to self-worth. And so I said, I can continue to sit here in depression, or I can put myself out there in a bigger way.
And you feel like being in your inner anchor and your breath might support you in stepping out in a bigger way. Yeah. And it's like more grounded in the resonance of who you are versus trying to overpower just mentally, right? Of like, oh, I shouldn't be in this regret, or I'm feeling bad about myself. I gotta just be positive, right? Everyone tells me to be just be positive. I think when we do that, it's like, I call it mental gymnastics. We're like constantly coaching ourselves all day. Like, just be positive, just do this. I'm like, it's exhausting because it's not actually connected, right? It's not bringing the physical, the energetic, and the emotional in mindset. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Do you have any practical communication tips for virtual interactions? Like, because sometimes like a virtual interaction is way more draining than in-person interaction, because I feel like you're so like
so
perfect.
Totally. Totally. What I would say, the question was, how do you support yourself when you're in a virtual interaction? She was sharing she feels maybe more drained at the end of those because you're on and everyone sees you. When we're on our screen, when we're in that virtual thing, we're in what's called cortical vision, which is really narrow focused vision. We're kind of like here, we're all our energies here. This, what I'm about to say, is true in almost a lot of regards, but specific to this, we're not in our back space. Yoga people often call it our back body. I don't like that languaging because it makes it feel separate. It's the same body. But so what I would say is, can you be more in your back space? And there's so many different ways, but so just bringing breath here, bringing your thinking, so you're not just here. Can you, even before the meeting, or you can be on the meeting, but before you're actively talking, can you take in the periphery more and go into what's called subcortical vision, which is taking in more of the horizon, which will actually, if any of you have tension back here, will soften that. These suboccipital muscles, you got the tension there. Yeah, right? Yeah, because these suboccipital muscles, when we're in cortical vision, are right? We're not made to be on a screen all day. So we actually need to take in the horizon. And I really think that shifts our perception. Because if you're only seeing what's here, you can't see the bigger picture, right? We then do make probably little silly mistakes. That would be my, breathe into your pelvis, let belly expand, and be more, can you take in the horizon as you're in the screen? So it's not just so This is a quick story I want to share. One of my clients, she's a professor, and she mostly works in a male-dominated industry. She would always feel invisible when she would present and share. And after doing these practices, she took them away and presented at a conference. And the next week she shared after, she felt like the biggest person in the room. And her body didn't change. She's a petite female. And her male colleagues came up to her after and asked questions and were really engaged and curious. She felt like the biggest person in the room. So that was awesome. Just by changing these, just by being more in her, for her, it was her inner anchor and actually being in her body. So your body is what really holds the key in regards to you unlocking more confidence, more energy, more success, specifically in regards to your leadership and how you're showing up in your life and in your business. And I did want to offer you all, if you want to experience this yourself, if you are curious about my work or kind of going deeper and own your energy embodied breakthrough session, it's normally I charge $197 for this. It would be free for you today. That's a little QR code you can scan to schedule. But in that session, we'll clarify what's keeping you specifically stuck in regards to your confidence, your visibility, and your presence. You'll experience an embodied shift right away, and I'll give you a personalized next step plan for you. So leadership is how, and that's the same code to scan. Leadership is how you show up in your body, allowing all of you versus just being stuck in your mind. So thank you all for having me, and hopefully you try out these tools and they can be supportive for you. Yeah, thanks for being such a good active audience and doing the practice.